So literally, Shekinah and Rika always talks about going to Manchester. Yeah, when he took the sound up to Manchester.
Yeah, man.
Where was he going in Manchester?
So there was a place called the Polish Club. It was a nightmare because we Polish didn't know nothing about no lifts them times. And the stairs weren't that big, and then she kind of turned up with them big boxes and stuff like that. But listen, man, from then string up and they played 2 tune, the whole of the community came. The place was full up. Them man were playing tune. I'm thinking, yo, this is gospel. I'm like, yo, I need to speak to these man, you know. And then Rico would just stop the music and just start sharing the gospel hardcore.
Yeah.
People throwing up a hand and coming to altar and coming to the sound system. You know what I mean? The altar was in front of the decks. You know what I mean? It's like, wow. Just praying for people hard right there in the club. And it's like, wow.
Affinity Xtra. Be Xtra.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are personal and do not necessarily represent the views of Affinity Xtra.
Yeah, people, this is the boy here, Roger Moore, and Affinity Xtra, celebrating gospel music of Black origin. This is how we do it. I am alongside a guest of mine. We have known each other for a few years. We are doing right now the urban look back of the urban scene before 2005, because I do feel that people think that nothing had gone before then, but we're going to actually paint the picture, because you know what, guys, in the early years we didn't document much, we just did it, you know what I'm saying? And we didn't have the digital era that we have now. We did have digital, but we wasn't digital recording it. We weren't able to digitally do stuff like how we do it now. And so we're just here to reflect this, but also as a non-southerner, I'm making sure that we represent the whole UK.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So like I did he's introducing himself, man. He wanted it to be my, everyone knows I could do these things at the beginning. But listen, and we had DJ Fitz. You should listen to DJ Fitz, man. With a couple of guys from Birms. Now there's plenty more people from Birms. Listen, people from Birmingham, you know what I'm saying? I've had Rico, we had Praying Mantis, you know what I'm saying? Yo, Birmingham, show some love, man. But I do know why, you know what I'm saying, guys are too scared to, not too scared. There's something about we sometimes a bit precious and hurt, but this platform is not to demean your input. We're here to expose it, to celebrate it, to make people understand where you're coming from and what you're sold into. And let's be real, if not 95%, all of us were hurt because of the struggle that we did without the church really backing what we're doing. And that's something which I really, and it's nothing against the church. I'm fed up with this cycle. Let me give you an illustration, people. I get brought into a meeting with a bunch of people that are older than me, and the first thing they look at is, Roger, you do rap. Bear in mind, I grew up on Andre Crouch. And then they will turn around to me and they say to me, yo, Roger, like, do you believe in gospel drill? And I go, hold on a second, do you believe in Andre Crouch? Because when Andre Crouch came out, he was seen as a secular sounding artist. We continue to do this every single time. The gospel music makes it, because its lyrical content makes it what it is. Drill is amazing, grime is amazing, UK rap is amazing, hip hop is amazing, dancehall is amazing. When you put the form, whatever lyrics you put on it, makes it palatable for me, or you know what I'm saying, as a Christian, or it makes it palatable for you or somebody else who's listening in who doesn't pertains to other things. I'm just fed up the way that black music, majority of it out there, is pure slackness and actually not representing the true nature of our culture and our character. So that's my major problem. So I'm fed up of people still going through the same cycle. So we're going to expose the struggle that the people have, you know what I'm saying, back in the day. So I'm along somebody who I remember I was going to I went to we're going to do interview them. I'm going back to sometime in the past, way back. I went to a place called Barmaid, and it was Cafe Gospel, and that place was thriving. What Cafe Gospel, what, you know, DJ Zoa and his wife Elizabeth, what they were doing was really great ministry, Cafe Gospel, and it was Gospel Renaissance. And then some man's coming from Manchester, so I recognized Colin because I did a show with Colin actually prior to that. So I was like, wow, what, Colin coming down with them mans? And he had this guy next to him. You know what I'm saying? And I said, yeah, man, I'm fresh, you know what I mean? And I saw Man, he had vinyls on him. I don't know if I got it right.
Man.
I don't know if you remember then. You know what I'm saying? You say he had vinyls on him, and then all of a sudden, I heard him catch the mic. And people in Manchester don't sound like that. And he said, I never knew they're Jamaicans in Manchester. This I only turn a pop out in Manchester people. But unfortunately, because we didn't get out much, I didn't really go north a lot, where I should have really. But I didn't realize that only thing I watched was Coronation Street. So I would think that everybody, who was on Coronation, everybody looked. But anyway, so this guy came on the mic still and absolutely ripped up. He got there late, you know what I'm saying? And they ripped it up with his vibe. It was going, he played some, I believe it was Donnie McClurkin or, you know what I'm saying? Donnie McClurkin, I think he played, Times made of yeah. Sorry guys, I'm going like I've got some perfect memory here. But and that was my first interaction with this DJ from Manchester. And over the years, guys, not only his ability to move in the world of music, but also in his world of youth ministry. And youth ministry that doesn't deal with the nice clean youths in church. He's dealing with the youths that are going through their struggles, you know what I'm saying, and empowering them or whatsoever. Still this very day, I have to big up the man that I found out a few years ago thanks to Music Geek, the man that I used to call Cutty upon the road. He used to cut up the place, you know what I'm saying, on the Blades of Steel, man, you know what I'm saying, and he was a DJ on road, I heard, you know what I'm saying, a very, this a house party king, you know what I'm saying, you know what I mean, so, so from there, but you know what, God touched his life and he came through and he's done his things in here, and that's what I know of the man that we call now DJ Mello, you know what I'm saying, Mello, word up, you know what I'm saying, I don't know if anything was wrong what I said.
That was all good, man. It was nice, man. I like that.
Cool. Was it Cutty Mello or is it just Cutty?
It was Cutty Mello back in the day.
Okay, Cutty Mello. How did you get the name Cutty?
Why?
Sorry.
You're gonna start already.
We testimony service time. Was that due to the wheels of steel or the blades of steel?
The names have been changed to protect the innocent. No, but listen, the cutty was more my mouth, because I used to cut people up with my mouth.
Oh yeah.
And,
okay.
But also, I used to love Cutty Ranks, who was a reggae artist back in the day.
Okay.
So I like the name Cutty.
Yeah.
But then because I had my mellow side, the man them used to call me Cutty Mello. You get me? So they made up the name for me.
That's a good point. Mello, is his name's Melvin or something? Is his middle name Melvin or something like that?
No, I don't know. Mello just come from me just being a mellow guy. You know what it is? Because I was around. I grew up in the sound system, around the sound system.
Okay. So which sound system was the main one?
So that's Megatone out of Manchester, one of the biggest sounds out of Manchester. They came through Kilowatt Stable and then Megatone. And then later on we had a sound system called Red Star, which was the younger ones. So growing up around that environment, the music, just the energy of it and stuff like that. And then at school, because we started to DJ and stuff, even from school days, like 12, 13 years old, we were on the radio, we were on pirate radio station, doing radio shows and stuff. So we were like little superstars at school. We'd come in the next day and the kids would all be raving, like, oh man, the show was what?
Serious? What age was that?
I was about 14.
So what's it? So your mum let you do this? Your mum didn't know?
Obviously she knows now, innit? But like,
so your mum
at the time, what happened is it got to the point where I was sneaking out anyway to go to dance with my uncles them. So
your mum's brothers were taking you out to dance.
My mum's weird. It's my dad's side. But like, yeah.
I think it was.
So it was like, wasn't me immediate cousins, it was my family still. So it's my cousin's family. But so what we would do, I used to go to my cousin's yard and go and chill with him for a little bit. And I said, all right, bye uncle. And then I said, yo, meet you downstairs. So then I'd go down the road like I'm getting off. This was like 8, 9 o'clock at night. And then my cousin would go into the bathroom, jump out the bathroom window and sneak out, and we'd go to dances and we'd sneak into dances that we were like 14, 13, he was 12. I was 14, 15. So So
Yo,
we were learning the
confession,
ropes
you know.
from early. We learned the ropes. We learned the music.
Yeah.
We learned how to carry ourselves. We learned that. The good thing was our sound system or Megatone sound system was more of a community sound system. So the vibes and the energy around it wasn't like a proper hardcore clash sound.
Yeah.
It was more
yeah.
entertainment
Yeah.
and community and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we had a good upbringing, a good sound foundation.
So was there like a hall? What area was that in Because everybody assumed that every black person lives in my side in Manchester, which is not true.
So I grew up in Old Trafford, OT.
Yeah,
You
so-
get me?
yeah.
So obviously I'm a red. You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
all day, every day.
Daddy used to take me to. I used to pay £3 on the door at Old Trafford. You know?
Yeah.
£3. I used to turn up on a Saturday
£3,
morning.
you know.
Dad would go through one door.
Yeah.
I'd go through the other door.
Yeah.
And pay my money and just hope that I'd see him on the other side.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was early experience as well. But yeah, so I grew up in Old Trafford, which is next door to my side as well. So
Okay, cool.
So my sound system upbringing and the music's upbringing came from local youth clubs, which is Old Trafford Youth Centre, but also from my uncles playing the sound system. And I actually grew up not even liking reggae music because
Yeah.
I thought it was devilment. Because I grew up in church. You
Okay,
get me?
yeah.
So initially I grew up in church.
So what church was you growing up in?
Sharon Church, my original Sharon Church. It's called Freedom Life now. But my great grandparents actually were one of the founders of that church.
So what church is it? Apostolic? What type of church?
I think it's an
Apostolic.
apostolic church as well. Gospel apostolic church. That was it. Sharon full gospel, not half, you know. Full gospel church.
Okay, yeah. Full gospel
So
church. Yeah,
I think they were
yeah.
related. I think they came through something. I think they're connected with the Assemblies of God.
Assemblies of God.
I think they're connected
Okay,
with them.
cool. Brilliant.
But long time church. But so I grew up in the church, and then in my formative years, say 11, 12 stuff, I got kind of into the music again. Because I was always a soul guy, but the reggae music I kind of started to listen to. I was always told it was devilment. You get me?
So 1 second. So when you listen like the soul though, yeah, when you're younger, what was your mom listening to? What music was you? What was? Because I remember the tunes like Andre Crouch, Winans was what I was listening to from my dad. It was
When I didn't grow up with no Andre Crouch,
Yeah.
I know not about no Andre Crouch still. But I don't know about Andre Crouch and them guys and the
Yes,
Winans and stuff like that. I didn't get to know that till later on. I grew up with Michael Jackson and
Pendergrass,
Diana
I know
Ross
it, Pendergrass.
and
So I was thinking,
Whitney Houston, them kind of people, and then
So hold a second. So
Bobby Brown
So,
later.
so your mom's going to church, yeah, but you come home to soul tunes.
come on to soul tunes. So no. Let me get it right.
So get you with your mom, you know.
Both my parents were church beats, but on
Yeah.
a Saturday,
Yeah.
I was just obsessed with music. So the front room, remember the front room people?
Yep,
The
yep,
front
yep,
room.
yep, yep.
Nobody could go in there.
Yeah.
I had access.
Yeah.
Me one, you know, my
Yeah.
twin.
Yeah.
I'm a twin as well.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
You know,
yeah,
say it was
yeah.
worries and problem. When we catch up. But on a Saturday, one of my privileges, I was allowed to go on the record player.
Yeah.
And I played the top 40 hits.
Yeah.
So we used to have top 40 hits and I used to stop the tape and tape my certain tunes and whatever.
Okay,
and
okay.
I used to play my mum's records and stuff like that. But it was like
So
you
it's
say,
still your mom records.
mum's records.
Yeah.
So I mean, she had Jim Reeves, you know, the standard.
Yeah,
Jim
yeah,
Reeves
yeah,
and them
yeah,
kind
yeah,
of
yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah.
I didn't
Elvis Presley.
I never really played them thing there. But I was more into the Michael, the Whitney, the Lionel Richie, them kind of Commodores, that kind of stuff.
Okay,
so
cool.
that's what I grew that was my musical foundation.
Cool. That's interesting. Because like I said, my experience with my parents' music collection, that was straight up gospel, but your mom
Right.
still had the soul stuff, and that's not unusual. It's just that not everybody had an environment where.
Yeah.
When you go home, all you see is pure Whitenans, Andre Crouch, and whatever.
Right.
So you're obviously your parents.
You never came home and never got gospel music at home.
Yeah.
That was something
That's weird to me. But the thing is, but
Yeah.
at church, and the behavior is tough.
Church was hardcore. Church was hardcore, like,
Christian. Yeah.
You was in Sunday school.
Yeah.
I was baptized from
Yeah.
early.
Yeah.
So we was hardcore, man.
So your mum missed out on that. When people used to get saved, and he said dash out the secular connection.
Yeah.
but your mum
you have to
didn't-
worry about that. That wasn't a thing them times, though. It wasn't major. I had to worry about that later on in life. We'll get to that.
remember that phase that everybody's like burning those old CDs.
I went
burning.
there, man. But I ended up giving them away. And I
Okay.
should have really destroyed. Some of them should have got destroyed still.
Yeah.
But a lot of them I just gave away. So
Yeah. I must admit, when I got conviction over certain mangas, like I love my manga anime
Right.
videos I got, and I had Guyver series, you know, bro. It was, and I got Ninja Squall and all these ones. And I said, you know what, I gotta get rid of it. So somebody said, why don't you give it away? I said, can't do that, man, because that don't make no sense. Because if I give it to the people, if it's not good for me, it's not good for them. So I had to burn these VHSs, bro. Absolute classics. But you know,
speaking of manga, though, you know, we used to do a manga theme night. It was a soul R&B type of night, hip hop, in Manchester at the world famous Hacienda. So we had a monthly. We were the first ones to kind of get a monthly doing soul and R&B because it's most like house music and stuff like that, indie, that kind of scene. And so we did an R&B night like once a month, and we were sponsored by Night Cortez. They're the kind of vibes we was dealing with, yeah, man.
Yo, he's going, all right, we're gonna get there. So listen, you're 12, 13 now, now evolving now from the church boy that didn't like dance, or when I say church boy, but church boy who listened to soul and all that business at home. But you know what I'm saying, but you're influenced by the music there. You love music, you know what I'm saying, you're playing pure tunes, and then you bump into your cousin that you met at one Christmas, and then you said, oh, we just live around the corner from each other, and then all of a sudden you gone from seeing each other Easter and Christmas.
Yeah, blame it on him. Maffateria. That's what his name was. Well, his name's Matthew, but you know, ragga names, you know what I mean? So,
straight.
But Maffateria, salute, cause.
So what was the community hall that they used to go to have the dances? What was the main spot in Trafford?
So in Trafford, in Old Trafford, we, like I said, we had the youth centre, so they allowed us to kind of ply our trade there in the youth centre. We would string up the little piece of sound. We'd listen. One brethren would bring, you know, they used to have the separates at home. Yeah. Some of them guys were brave enough to bring their you know, the wooden ones. The proper wood. Listen, man, we strung up 2 amps and 2 speakers and stuff. Man. Hash, you know, listen, man, we blew up the most amount of speakers in the process, man. And enough man took enough beatings because of us trying to string up the sound system. But the Old Trafford, the youth centre was good, man. And then we did some youth events in them times because there was quite a lot of young people into the music and stuff. So we would do events at local colleges and stuff like that from when we were teenagers.
Crazy.
We do house parties. House parties were a little bit...
Okay.
You know what I mean? But, you know, God is good. Thank God for Jesus. But, you know, people's house got wrecked and stuff like that. But it was part of it. But the vibes was there still. The party was nice. You know what I mean? But, so even from a young age, we were like... in the public eye. People knew us in the public eye. So
yeah, no, that's beautiful. That's crazy. So okay, right. So we're going from a teenager now still.
Right.
So you're coming through now. You're coming into the 90s. Well, coming up to the late 80s, going into the 90s now.
Yes.
Now, you're coming to your strong teenage years. You're about to leave school now. Still, yeah. Was Mello stepping into church then, or was he stepping straight out? Now you going, Mom, I just leave the dinner for me. Be gone.
You know, I'm not gonna lie. Man was doing the hokey pokey, you know, because man had 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Okay.
And 2 twos would shake it all about. You know what I'm saying? So I would go to a dance. I'd play a dance till morning, and even play blues. And blues was like the after the party, and so you'd be playing till the birds would chirp.
Sorry about the confession, people.
Listen, you step outside, you step out here, you tweet. It was a beautiful sound.
Yeah.
But anyway, went home, held the fresh. And I still went to church the next morning, man. No matter what time I got in the morning, I would still find myself at church, which was just something that really puzzled me. No matter how deep things got in life.
Was that the clause that your mom said that if you don't go to church, you don't have no dinner?
It wasn't even that. It was just something in me that
it was
just a seed that was planted in me from early that, you know, there were certain things that, even on a day-to-day with the guys and stuff like that, there were certain things, certain levels that... You know what I mean? I wasn't perfect by any means, but there's certain things that I just couldn't, I wasn't a part of, you know what I'm saying?
So, you know, you say you're say you're a twin, but you got a twin brother. So did he go out with you guys, or was he just went a different path?
So
because some twins I like bona fide, like tight, like whatever they do, they read each other mind. And some of them just go 2 different pathways. You know what I'm saying?
We didn't get tight until much later on in life. When we were youngsters, we were like cat and dog. But interestingly enough, even from junior school, we had our own separate set of friends, our own circle of friends. So you know, some of the of his friends that he still goes on holidays and stuff with them now. You know what I mean? And his friends were into the hip hop scene.
Right.
So he was called OJ.
Yeah.
His proper name's Owen, but he was called OJ.
Yeah.
And he had a brethren called Eric T. So they were on the hip hop scene. They were massive on the hip hop scene in Manchester.
What, as a DJ or a rapper?
As a rapper.
Wow, serious?
Yeah, as a rapper. So they was on it like that. They would do like showcases in the town centre. I'd go and watch some stuff like that, and then but they never come to our dances because it was too ragga for them, and they wouldn't really come to the hood. But they were more uptown because uptown was more acceptable of you'd never get dancehall and stuff uptown.
Yeah.
And even for a period of time, like in the 90s when the bullets were flying and stuff like that, you couldn't even get R&B and stuff in town. And reggae and stuff like that in the town centre. So my twinny was a bit.
Yeah.
He loved music, but he had a different
taste. Yeah. No. I get that. So you know, so you guys are doing your thing, and so you go on your two pathways now musically. You're out with your cousins, them going to dance or coming back home late, going to church, doing this or whatever. Now, was there any time you come to church and said, "Boy, the music's sweet here," or you was always like, "Nah, it's just." Was there a time where you was coming to church and going, "Boy, things are changing now, the music changing," or was it more to do when you come back to church, you had to almost, "Boy, there's nothing here, I'm gonna have to do something." What was it? What was
you know
it?
what? The funny thing was, even when I'd play dances and stuff like that, even before I step out my door, I would be praying, or like I'd pray that everybody attending would be safe and that everything would go cool and we'd be all right. I didn't go out once and not do that. And there was times, Holy Ghost. There was times when literally God says, "You know what? You ain't going out tonight. Don't stay in your yard tonight. You don't need for you to go out tonight." And that night, things did go on and people getting killed and stuff like that. So there's a lot of time when I was safe from certain situations. I mean, I've been held up before and stuff like that.
Listen, bro, listen, guys. When I was at college, I was about 8. Well, me and Mello, we were basically the same age. So when I was about 18, my side was
brother.
Bro, it was Guns and Roses, bro. Like,
it was crazy,
bro. It was
my school, brother. Yeah. My secondary school. We had 3 the main gangs. You had Cheetham Hill, you had Gooch, and you had Doddington. Right? So the Gooch and Doddington, there was Moss Side, and my school was kind of Hugh Moss Side, which is kind of next door. So like it would literally be some weeks or some particular days, the Gooch guys couldn't come in because the Doddington guys was gonna pass by school. Other weeks, the Doddington guys come in because the Gooch guys couldn't come into school. You know what I mean? They were coming into school. The other week, the Cheetham Mill guys would come and they would come with like 40, 50 man. And them times, school didn't have no gates and stuff like that. Our school was an open plan. You know what I'm saying? So man could just walk into your school, drapes up a man, bust him up. I remember seeing one, you just get thrown in the bin. And the bins were big like, these big massive metal bins, Man got twist up and then thrown in the bin, stuff like that. So, and then you'd have in Manchester, I don't know if he was like that in Birmingham, but we'd have like dinner tickets. You have dinner tickets?
Not so much, not so much.
On a stush. But anyway, we had these reels of dinner tickets that you get at the beginning of the week, and you use them to exchange for your dinner every day. Listen, they got used like people were licking shot with, people were selling them like it was drugs. But then because they were the same ones across the schools, guys would come into our school and tax man, come and take your dinner tickets and sell them same way because you can get like. Wow. You can get 5 or 6 for a $5, and them times are big money. That
it's cheap.
Yeah, it was serious thing. It was dangerous times. The music was good, but it was dangerous times. It was times when, towards the end of school, where like you'd come home from school, you weren't leaving your yard because it was that dangerous out on the street. Because man would just stop your man on the street and just taxing you. So you couldn't even go down to Tesco's or wherever you wanted to go to.
Taxing you.
So your mum said, if your mum said you got to go to the shop, it's one of them where you're like, you know what, mum? Right. But you couldn't really deny your mum, so you had to just go on a quick one. And but I got caught slipping a few times, but I kind of got away with it because being a DJ and because I was known. A lot of the time, so I had allegiances from the main side. So let's say, Cheetham Mill, Moss Side, whatever. So and because I did I would do the house parties for the Gooch guys, house parties for the Dodderton guys, house party for the Cheating Mill guys as well. So I had that camaraderie where I didn't have any issues with nobody. So I was all right. Not that a couple of them booked up with me a few times, but I managed to. I've got a little scar. I've got scars.
Yeah.
But, you know, life is good.
Yeah, that's crazy. So, what was there a crazy incident that really brought you in? Which you said, now I'm moving away from this life now. I'm gonna go in full on. Yeah, I'm gonna bring my like it's like you've been doing the DJing on the streets. Now I'm gonna bring it into. I'm gonna use the proverbial word saved. I'm gonna come into church now. I'm gonna commit fully to this thing. What was that point?
Yeah, it was crazy. I think it was one time when because we were just getting big. We were big DJs, man. We was up and down the country. We was doing concerts for like all the major US and Jamaica, all the artists. We were doing it, especially on the R&B scene.
Yeah.
If they're coming to the UK, if they're coming north side, they had to check myself and my boy Busy B, who was older than me, and he kind of brought me into that side of things. But so that was our thing. But then it got to a level where I was like, you know what? It started to get ineffective for me, and because I was, like you say, I had 1 foot in and 1 foot out. And then what had happened is actually, quite interestingly, I ended up managing a group called Versatile, which was Nicola. Remember Nicola, the artist Nicola from Manchester?
Nicola, yeah.
So she was in it, and my cousins were in it, and a couple of their friends. So I was managing them while they were doing this competition and stuff like that. And then Nicola invited me to Moss Lane, Church God of Prophecy.
Okay.
Yeah, and in my mind, I'm thinking, I ain't going to Clapham Church. I'm going to Clapham Church and I'll just clap up on a hand and excite. But I remember going to visit there the very first time, and half of my school was there. You know what I mean? The Mandem, a couple of the Mandem was there, and this was after school. Obviously, I'm a bit older now. I think I was about 18, and I just remember seeing so many young people, teenagers. Whereas my old church was a bit stale. It wasn't really. It wasn't really on that. You know what I mean? It was more. You know what I mean? I wouldn't say more holy, but I'm saying it was more like it wasn't. They didn't move with the times. They wasn't really there for young people, and they couldn't really relate to young people.
Okay.
So I got involved in the church, started to visit there, and then just over time, I was still out in the club, still doing my thing, but gradually, God just started to convict my heart. I was praying about, and you know what? I prayed that God would take my desire to be in certain environments, or take my desire for certain things away, because that's the only way you're gonna get me out of this thing, because I'm enjoying it, I'm making a bag of money out of it, and I'm you know what I mean, I'm living life, and it's working for me right now. But God gradually, I had some good brothers around me. Big up Danny, he's in Birmingham now actually, Danny McLaren, and Cozzy, a couple of the guys who used to just get around me, and we just used to pray together, man. We were just getting hardcore for Jesus, and it got to the point where I just one night, God convicted me hard, man. He says, you know what, you got to do this thing tonight, you know, big party, big thing, big town centre in Manchester, big dance, and I said to Busy, you know what, this is my last night, you know. He goes, and you know what he said to me? He goes, what is it? It's the church thing, innit? Yeah, you know it is Busy. You know what I mean? It's like it's got to a point now. I've got to draw the line, because you know what I mean.
You gotta do.
So I actually went in the club that night. We were there, and I got on the mic and I said, "Listen, people, this is the last time you're gonna see me. Look after each other, and I'll be praying for you. But for me now, it's all about God. That's what I'm dealing with." And the amount of people before I even left out the club, you know.
Yeah.
They were coming up to Mello, man, respect that. Yeah, love that. And listen to me, Roger, when I left out that club, as soon as I stepped out that door, I literally felt like the Marshmallow Man.
Yeah.
You know, Mr. Strange. Mr. Strange.
Yeah.
I felt like,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was just weird. And I said to business, I said, yo, I just feel proper light, like. And he was like, yeah, man. But I'm like, he didn't have a clue what was going on. You know what I mean? But so a lot of things changed from then. I couldn't be around certain environments, and even actually, you know, so I got much more heavily involved in the church then. I cut off my cousins there. I had to cut them off for a while because they were just too,
Yeah.
So
Let's go for that period, man. Detox.
That's what I'm saying. It was like I couldn't possibly lock off and try to live for Jesus if I've still got one hand here, one foot in the grave. You know what I mean? So then started getting more involved, and then got baptized. The day I got baptized, I stepped outside. Somebody who's my pastor now, Chen. He said to me, "Listen, you want to come to Russia?" Then we talking about. I'm just coming from road, you know.
What year is this?
This was 2000. No, this would have been about 99, 2000.
But then, okay, cool.
98, 99, My daughter was born 98 as well.
Okay.
So that was a massive catalyst as well.
For you to kind of go, boy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when my daughter was conceived and stuff like that, I remember my local church, Sharon Church, why they wasn't ready for that, man. They just blanked me. Brother, they blanked me, man. I'd be upstairs in the top pew, bawling my eyes out every Sunday, man. Because because in my mind, through the way I was brought up, I was like, listen, this is how you do things.
Yeah.
You go to school, college, uni, you do your thing, you get your career, this is how I was brought up. Then you get married, then you have your picnic then you have your children. Sorry guys. But this happened and I just felt like, boy, and I actually went through a period of where I tried to commit suicide 2 times.
See, it's almost like a depression. Did you have access? Did you have it? It was a little one around you, or was it like?
No, what it was is this is before she was even born.
Oh my
gosh, that's how hardcore it was.
Okay, what?
That's how hardcore it was. Jeez. To the point of where like. Because of how I felt, I thought I let myself down.
Yeah.
But when I went to church and they couldn't understand or they couldn't handle it, I felt just isolated. I felt like I was.
Did they isolate you, or did you?
Know what I'm saying? It's like they made me feel like I was like
okay. So they
the lowest of the low.
So didn't I have a brother there that says, "Listen, Mello, you've passed that."
Not one. There wasn't many young people there. I was more consistent than a lot of the others that was there. You know what I mean? But the church just couldn't handle it at that time, you know what I mean?
Jeez,
which I can understand and see now, but at the time it was like, wow, devastated. Just felt the shame every time you walked in church.
This is the point where people don't recognize, you know, right, listen, I spoke to young men before, yeah? And when I mean one guy, you know, he's in ministry now, he said, one girl said she thinks she's pregnant, and the man said, listen, he was sicking up in the toilet like it was morning sickness. like he's got the bed. The pressure is all they're thinking about. It's like, wow. How am I gonna tell my mom? Like all these things hit you. You know what I'm saying?
Listen.
And the thing is, people go, oh, Roger.
You know, your mom's gonna feel shame.
You say it's women that, and a lot of times everyone looks at things from a women perspective, especially our generation. When they don't look at the pressure that sometimes
because they see the man as being in control. But I was a boy. I was like 18, 19. You know what I mean? I was like, I was a child. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know.
And he's like, okay, cool. So, okay, so that's that. I didn't realize you were under pressure before the baby was born. Like,
man. Yeah. So that was all that. And so part of that was me coming back as well and saying, you know what, boy, you know, rather than. So when the opportunity came to visit another church. And them embracing me, and I think part of them embracing me is because of who I was as well.
Yeah.
Probably because I was well known and stuff like that, and it was popular. Yeah. So, you know, people kind of gravitated towards me, so it was good. And then, and even the music at the time changed as well. I was part of Sony Street Team, and they would send me music and stuff like that, mostly secular stuff and whatever. But like this album came through, Wining's Phase 2.
Yeah, man. Yellow, it's like yellow brown kind of outline of them. Yeah.
Because that's one of my prayers at the time as well. That boy, if I'm gonna come over this side, I can't let go of music. You're gonna have to come with, but you can't be coming with a dry, wishy-washy. You know what I mean? Because I'm levels this. You can't be coming with no choir. You can't. You at that time you couldn't show me Marvin Sapp. Them time you couldn't show me Total Praise and all them. You couldn't. I'm coming straight from road. You know what I'm saying? You couldn't come with them things. So when that album dropped, and then you had tracks like It's Alright, Send Me.
Yeah.
I've seen man still play that now because I played it back in the day. You know what I mean? But I remember playing that radio. I'm thinking, wow.
So when you came on to see him 2000, now I know say that I did a tour in Manchester with Colin Woodcock at the time.
Right.
I think it was around about 2001. Yeah. And what was... Obviously, Colin, it's a Colin. Outside of like, because obviously I know Colin was doing everything there. Was there any Mellow type people doing anything in Manchester outside their buildings?
Gospel wise, no. What we did have is big salute reaching out to Shekinah. They would come over.
Because
every now and again.
Because I would say I would look up to Shekinah.
Manchester wise,
but Manchester. So, but
that's Colin Woodcock was doing his thing. But again.
But more the urban, more hardcore urban.
Yeah.
I wouldn't see Colin as a hardcore urban. He's
no.
But the thing is, he knows the soul stuff, but not like dance or like.
And he had the connection. He knew how to connect the churches, which was really, really good. When it comes to like that side of things, you know, not necessarily outreach like on the street kind of thing, but when it comes to events and stuff, Colin was that dude.
Yeah, that's calm. That's calm.
I mean?
So when it comes to that now, that's great. So. So literally, Shekinah and Rika always talks about going to Manchester. Yeah, when he took the sound up to Manchester.
Yeah, man.
Where was he going in Manchester?
So there was a place called a Polish Club. It was a nightmare because we Polish didn't know nothing about no lifts them times, and the stairs weren't that big. And then she kind of turned up with them big boxes and stuff like that. But listen, man, from then string up and they played 2 tune, the whole of the community came. The place was full up. Them man were playing tune. I'm thinking, yo, this is gospel. I'm like, yo, I need to speak to these man, you know. And then Rico would just stop the music and just start sharing the gospel hardcore.
Yeah.
People throwing up a hand and coming to altar and coming to the sound system. You know what I mean? The altar was in front of the decks. You know what I mean? It's like, wow. Just praying for people hard right there in the club. And it's like, wow. That blew my mind. I've never seen anything like that. You know what I mean? And I remember connecting with those guys. I remember them getting some music and stuff like that. And just really started to really search out music and get involved. And then the church would have me doing so many different events and outreaches and stuff like, which was good because it got me playing the gospel music on a regular, going into it and exploring it a lot more. And I got involved in mission work. So I ended up traveling the world with Sam Chen as well. So we was in Russia, Barcelona, Bulgaria.
Okay.
Where else did we go now? Cyprus. I remember we did a mission in Cyprus. But yeah, we went up. We were all over the world, man. It was amazing time. And like I said, then I linked with some of the guys from London, sound guys from London, Colin. Then we started to do some outreaches. Which involved. So we do it alternative. One year we'd have Shekinah come down. And they would string up the sound in the park, and we just go in the park. And then the next year we'd have Reds and His Majesty's sound system. Yes. Them guys would come down. So we do the alternative like that. And we just nice up the place.
So because I'm trying to get a picture of what it was like 2005 before for people our generation.
Okay.
5, yeah. So ultimately, what you say was there any? Because you're saying people coming in, so you almost importing at the time, Manchester.
Yeah, because Manchester didn't really have like.
You didn't have
the gospel scene in Manchester at the time was more people coming into Manchester and doing events and stuff like that. I'm trying to think. There was 1 or 2 gospel events that were at churches and stuff like that. You know, where people would come in and he'd have a couple of the young people. I mean, Moss Lane was good because we had so many talented young people and worshippers there. So there was.
Were they more like singers though? Was there any?
They were more singers,
who's the first Manchester rapper you saw, or was that way later on? Was
First Manchester rapper was probably Righteous a little bit later on. No, Righteous was just Damien Coley, and Cavell was later on. I'm just thinking of them times.
Righteous, you talking about? Was he going back then? Right back to your early days?
Yeah. 90s. Yeah. That's when he was. Yeah. He was just kind of he was doing his thing them times. And Cozzy. Don't know if you know about Cozzy. Cozzy Amasu, man. Listen. He could spit hard. So we would do outreaches and he just jump on the mic and just be going in. But aside from Cozzy, there wasn't many in Manchester doing it. From what I can remember.
So what ragga thing, the dancehall thing, was there anybody chatting on any rhythms or whatever, or singers that? Because I can't really think.
It was, you know what? There was singers, and there was worshippers and worship teams, and there was, maybe a few duos and stuff like that. It was more singers,
because
stuff
because
like that.
with Manchester, and I noticed it's not like you didn't have as much black people as Birmingham. I felt like Birmingham, it was more. we were more adventurous or something. I don't know. We I don't know. There's more people like me and you do a thing. You know what I'm saying? When Rico, I think, like, let's be real. And I said this to Rico on his show. They're the original gospel sound in the whole world. That's the first Christian. You know what I'm saying? They're the original foundational sound, and that's in Birmingham. You know what I'm saying? So I'm quite fortunate to be around somebody who like that. Then I was fortunate to be around like Beresford, who's doing the WOW shows.
Yeah, I remember that.
You know what I'm saying?
We used to travel up and check them things out.
I'm around two guys. I mean, only two guys that exposed me and was happy for me to sit with them or help them. So I was learning off of somebody in the hardcore, like Rico's coming from sound culture. And I'm learning from him what that culture is like. And Beresford is doing a high level caliber gospel events. So that actually prepared me for doing GR Lives and all the events I did later. But what was real interesting for me, what was it that really held back Manchester? Because I know you've got talented people, bro. Is it that? What scared? Like, you had a talented bunch of people in Marseille. What kept them? Is Marseille? Sorry, Marseille. What kept them from being the spanners of the world? Why didn't you have a spanner?
You know what, bro? What it was is Manchester had a more chilled, more laid back kind of mentality, and I think holiness was massive as well. Because, like, even with prophecy, we had to do certain teachings that you couldn't go swimming and stuff like that. Some madness was going on, and it was quite restrictive at the time. It's quite restrictive at the time.
Yeah.
So, like, even for me to bring a reggae music into the church was a big thing. You know what I mean? And it had to be blatantly like Bible lyrics.
Yeah.
You couldn't come with anything outside of that. You lucky to play a Papa San them times. You lucky to play a DJ Nicholas them times, because they were seen as, I couldn't play them certain places. If I come to Birmingham or even London, bam.
So when you came and I saw you for the first time down Gospel Renaissance,
that was nice, man. It was nice to let loose, man.
So you couldn't be doing things like that in Manchester?
Nah. Can't go hard like that in Manchester, no way. Because the crowd will just be looking at you like, what's this guy doing? Somebody go pray for this youth here, please. You know what I mean? They literally hold you down and two sheet of my collars. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the one there.
Trust me, man.
So that's interesting.
So it was hard.
Yeah,
it was hard.
So Manchester,
and it was just me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It was weird because, I mean, it was good in a way because I got all the events because people would always call me. But at the same time, getting that support and that network of people that were on it like that outside of Colin, because Colin was New T and I was Prophecy.
Prophecy, of course. Yeah.
So we did cross over on certain things.
Yeah.
But,
that really makes sense, because the more north you go, when you looked at our churches of the West Indian diaspora, you have like the London churches were always more advanced. They have more makeup than everybody else. That would be the indicator. And when you go to people right up in North and the Leeds, they're just.
But look, even on the secular side of things, it's still the same today. The opportunities, even for secular artists, and I say secular, it's just artists, but any artist, any urban artist trying to get their music out, even from Manchester, even to this day, you have to go to London. You know what I mean? It's easier now that you've got this social media and different outlets now, but to make that breakthrough and stuff like that, Manchester artists still feel that need to come to London.
Has there been a major. I'm thinking now, from our age group down,
Yeah.
who has been that gospel artist from Manchester?
Wow. It's got to be. Well, you've got Nicole. You've got.
Yes, well, quite like I don't know Nicole, and she was standing alone. Another standalone person. That is.
Yeah, it's true. Because the others were imported, so you got like.
Yeah. Wayne Ellington.
Obviously Wayne Ellington.
Yeah.
You got Carla Jane.
Imports.
You've got imports. Even Audrey Mattis with the choirs and stuff that she does, imports.
Birmingham.
Brummies again. So you know what I mean. It's but Manchester wise, so talented, man. Choir wise and worshipers, worship leaders, stuff like that.
But Shan
has some tune, and she's still doing her thing now.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah.
But the thing is, has there been any like proper R&B, urban gospel, like artists that came out of there? And the thing is with Shan, as much as she was great, she released that one EP and not really followed it up. I'm talking about consistently kind of done a thing.
So there's Marvin.
I was at 7.
Crown Freedom. So, but again, he was on a different kind of. He wasn't urban. It was urban, but it wasn't urban. It was more outreach, but he had to kind of fit into a certain mold.
And he's much later on. You're talking about.
He came a bit later.
2010s. While later, probably more 2015s. You know what I'm saying? Because he was part of the group in it, the duo, and that's
because we had Message was the biggest thing, but they were UK wide.
UK wide. So you see Message now, yeah. So Message is based out of Manchester. I remember they were coming through in the late 90s, early 2000s. So they were the outreach urban group.
Yeah, man. They were looking top of the pops and all them things, but that didn't filter down to.
Do you feel, because I went to one of their showcases the other day, I went to one of their spaces and whatever.
Yeah.
Do you think their success stopped the Afro-Caribbean diaspora from succeeding? Did they feel the gap in the system? Did they not block intentionally, but block by their presence? Development of
now that you're saying it, I think because they was already established worldwide, they were worldwide message tribe back in the day. And they were international, like they were on top of the pops. They were doing the festivals.
You had the white
like
rapper,
that.
you had the dancer, and then you had the classic black girl singer.
That was their MO.
You know what I'm saying? They were pop urban. They almost like a bit like an Outer Reading Flex for the UK.
And what they would do in the latter years, they would pluck out a couple of urban artists and throw them into their whatever they're doing, which was great. That's fine because it gave them an outreach as well, and it gave them that urban edge as well for them to meet different. But I think nothing came back the other way. You know what I mean? And they do some amazing work. They do some amazing
but the facilities
schoolwork and stuff like that. The fact that they're still going now shows you know what I mean, that they're doing their thing.
But their facilities is amazing. They got there,
but there's a certain demographic they'll never be able to really reach.
You
know what I mean?
And what I get frustrated with them, and I'll be open about it, is that but they've made it work, and this is nothing against them, but the thing is the problem when it comes to Christian music is that whenever we saw urban music be successful, and the only way it could be successful is with a black sound with a white face.
You know what? Because you had people like. Actually, now that you're saying that, Philippa Hanna, she did massive things. She went actually went overground.
Yeah.
Again, she's English. You know what I mean? I'm English as well, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But
so there was one or two artists that sprung up like that.
You're British born Jamaican.
Yeah, there you go. But, you know what I mean? So those kind of artists were able to make that breakthrough and get through. There was a youth called D-Sype. Again, this was later on.
D-Sype, I remember D-Sype.
This D-Sype, and what's it?
Was he a white rapper?
There was another dude. Yeah, it was a white rapper.
He was good, you know. He was good.
There was another one that I remember.
He was really good. Panache.
Pete.
Yo, Panache, he was, and you know what? He's just a regular dude, you know, bro. He was a regular dude, bro.
Listen,
and he had the twang. He had the twang. He was hard.
Man, but even him himself, it's like his struggle and D-Sype's struggle was for support. As much as we didn't get the support from our local churches, they didn't get the support from their local churches, so they were too busy trying to make their way in ministry and maintain a ministry. But then when life licked them now, girlfriend and having to work and time
private,
they didn't have the time to do it, and because they didn't have that financial support to actually maintain. And
the problem with the message, and it's not that I have a problem with the message,
right,
is that you have to fulfill their requirements. If they sign you, they don't empower you. They bring you into their machine. You know what I'm saying?
So it's not like, because if they say you doing something, they're not going to say, right, come here and do it here.
Yeah,
they're going to say, come here and just tweak it here. Just do it this way. Just do it that way.
And some people, some of the creatives don't like that kind of vibe still. And it's, guys, please, this is not anti-message, but
no, because I understand it, because it makes it palatable for everybody. And I'm not disputing that. I'm not disrespecting that one little bit, because they do amazing work.
But this is a clear problem. Their success has been at they don't realize, when you build a city on a village, you don't realize that you've plunked yourself on top of a river. And you just covered it over, and you don't realize what that river did in the community. And I think that a lot of times we're great, massive listen, message, man. They're reaching out to the lost. They're going out in the, they're going to all the schools. They were the first ones that really saw that bring certain things to school. I've been to their things, outreaches, but and what they do out there and whatsoever. And they're great big organization, and they do great work. But the one thing that I feel that they've done inadvertently, and in the name of Jesus almost, is blocked the growth of urban gospel, because they took the cream of it and left the black.
You know what the thing is, right? The thing is, right? I'm not gonna necessarily put it on them, because at the end of the day,
you still have to go back to Manchester.
Nah, I ain't worried about nothing, man. I ain't worried about nothing. Listen, at the end of
but I'm not saying what they did is wrong.
I 1,000,000% understand, but part of it was partially is because of, and the same conversation we've had before is where, all right, let's go back to 99, 2000, say between 2002 2005. There was an explosion of urban gospel music right across this country. The churches never got behind it too tough.
There is our fault as well. There's part of it our fault where you could say the churches should have spent less time talking about your hairstyle. You know what I'm saying? And where you're going and what cinema film you're watching. And said, Mello, yo,
come and disciple me then. Come and disciple me. Bring me alongside you. Disciple me. But encourage me, because what I'm doing is I'm taking the gospel to the street and I'm reaching these young people. And these young people are coming into your house. So at the end of the day, we're outreaching. You're not necessarily, you've not got that strength to go out and outreach every 5 minutes. We're out there on the street and spitting two bars, and over these young people are coming up to us and say, wow, what you chatting about? Wow, that's fire. That's gospel. All right, okay. And it opens up conversations, and there's so many young people getting saved. But the church is not supporting it. And that's half the problem. And I think we're living the remains of that now. Look at Affinity Xtra. If we talk about Infinity Xtra, it's an urban. It's got more that urban.
It's got more that urban.
It's got more urban flavor to it than
other
gospel stations. But it's not supported enough from
aspect.
From those that are dishing out. The support that needs to happen
within our Christian world. There was people dishing out in the Christian worlds, and we do not get direct. And this is, guys, please. Message, love what you're doing, and I love that man's like LZ7 have kept it going, whatever. They're still great, but the problem that we have, and sometimes as a community we can point at like spaces like Message and Integrity, and how they've basically monopolized and picked out the white faces to replace.
The thing is, it wouldn't be so bad if they'd fed back and supported other churches to do the same.
100%. But then my own thing is that as much as they can do that because we've allowed them to do that, and we don't support platforms like this. So, for example, now if a big organization like UCB goes, Roger, here's $500,000, we'll buy you out, but you need to copy. You can't do your edge shows anymore. You know what I'm saying? What do I say? No to the million. You know what I'm saying? But if the churches have come together and allow me to talk the realness and the talkness and deal with black issues that we don't want to deal with no more NHS issues with black people. We don't want to empower you. We just want to play Mary more often, and we're very happy. And that's what's happened.
But it's not good enough because it's not reaching the young people. Whereas you can hear a
pilot
lift show.
stations,
You
that's
can
what we
hear,
are.
you can hear shows where we're talking about politics, but young people can connect with it and say,
Yeah.
"Oh, right, okay,"
Yeah.
because we're giving it from that perspective. You can hear shows where you're getting gospel grime, you're getting gospel hip hop, you're getting gospel dancehall. The message is, I always say on my shows, the method may be different, but the message is exactly the same. That Marvin Sapp is not going to reach my brethren over there, so you get me. But if I play a Papa San, if I play a Imran, if I play, you know what I mean, then it's gonna reach those guys.
I know you love it, Imran, man. I know you love it.
That's my artist right
yeah,
now.
Yeah, but I know when I used to
man.
make it Soul Drive, man, Imran is just mashing
man.
the way airways.
nice
Yo.
little place,
T-Bunnies.
nice little place.
Listen, he's
And he's
tearing
working
up.
hard at the moment. He's putting
Yeah.
tune out like water. But I'm saying, like, even with him,
Yeah.
I don't want to see him not receive the support he's supposed to get.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to hear in a couple of years the man's just disappeared.
Yeah.
You get me?
Yo, Imran, you need to shout us out, man.
We need
because,
a package.
Because the thing is as well, I would encourage artists like Imran, Affinity Xtra. We're here for you guys. We don't want to just play you because we find it on Spotify. We want to play you because you're coming to the station. Yo, come down and treat us like BBC One Extra and say, yo, I want to come and hold a mic and say, yo, drop my tune, talk. Listen, we're here. So shout out to Imran, man. You know what I'm saying?
We'll have to start doing a gospel equivalent to In the Booth as well.
Yeah, bro. Listen, but
You know what I mean?
yo, you're
Gospel
here,
in
bro.
the booth, you know what I mean?
There's not enough equipment here to do booth
Yeah,
stuff.
man.
Yeah,
You
so
can do that.
yeah, man. So we're all day, every day, man. So guys, it's tough, man. It's tough,
It is
it's tough. And I think that you being in Manchester as almost, you're almost. This be real, bro. Is at times, because sometimes I get frustrated and I think, for goodness sake, if I was in Atlanta right now, I'd be loaded. Yeah, you know what? Is there times where you're thinking, I love my Manchester.
Trust me, man. If I was in New York, because the connections with the gospel connections I've got in New York, I would just fire out there. You get me?
Yeah.
But listen, I did a gospel party the other day for my young people, like a fundraiser thing, and I was playing urban gospel music, and the youth them were like, "What's this? What? Oh right, what's that? What's that? Can you play a Kurt Franklin? Can you play?" I'm thinking.
Right, that's another problem, bro. Now, back when I was younger, we would know the tunes.
Yeah.
You these days don't know the tunes,
No, because they're not
Why is
hearing
that?
it. Because all they're getting is no disrespect to those stations,
Yeah,
but those
yeah.
mainstream gospel stations are playing contemporary gospel.
Yeah.
They're not. That music is not necessarily. Yes, we've got a time for that. There's a time when I listen to that stuff. That's fine. But what I'm saying to you, if we want to reach our young people and get the message through a different means, Jesus talked about being all things to all men. You get me? One size does not fit all. You understand what I'm saying? So, it's not gonna, like, now I can listen to choir music. Now I can listen to worship. I can listen to. I can take that time and meditate and da. When I first came into this thing,
Of course, Scott. Yeah,
I wouldn't be at my yard doing that. I would not be doing that. You know what I mean? But until that true conviction comes, we need to find ways of, and God has given us the tools to do that.
Yeah.
But we're not sewing into it.
No, we're not, man. We're not, sis. Bro, we're not at all. So we need. So when we look at going forward, now we've got Manchester going forward, and part of this is to look back before 2005, and really look at the really underdeveloped spaces like Manchester, and this is where I was really cool, guys. Really wanted to link up, guys. First guys I wanted to hit up was Mello and certain guys and whatever. And we had to raise that standard with Affinity Xtra and look at with technology now we can all proper link up properly. Because I feel like, no offense to London, it's harder now to link up with them with better technology.
What do you mean?
Like, I don't see the scene as they're still not coming to Birmingham. They're still not coming to Manchester. You know what I'm saying? We're not seeing these guys on a day-to-day basis. They do come by, but they come by at a local Elim church and then they go dust out afterwards. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. We're not going nowhere unless we get a plane ticket to New York and everything guaranteed for the first 2 years. We may go there.
But big shout to Proclaimer. Proclaimer's, he's getting called into California and stuff like that. He's regularly doing his thing. So big up. That's my
Gospel,
brother.
yeah,
That's my
gospel
brother from
reggae,
another mother. And he's blacker
yeah.
than any of us out here. So you know what I
No,
mean.
and
That's my brother right there.
And the thing
Real.
is,
shout to Soulkill family.
He's been consistent with the reggae all that time. It shows you when you come consistent, you're nice. And don't worry, Proclaimer's gonna get his journey on it because he's a nuts man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so let's talk about
exactly.
Nottingham as well and look at what's happening in Nottingham. I'm gonna be talking about Nottingham because that's another. When it came to urban gospel, that was because of the likes of Proclaimer and a couple of other guys. Some of the artists there, Prodigal Son, and a couple of the guys that coming through there. They had a nice scene, late 90s, early 2000s when they're coming to scene. Everybody was doing their little fires around the place, but it's like we never gained ground. You know what I'm saying? We lost ground. You know what I'm saying, bro? And we got lazy, and this is taking up the ground, this throne. And if you got this ground in Nottingham, that means you're there, but you're not there. If you're that ground in Manchester, it's not there. So it's like,
we used to do an outreach outside.
Yeah.
Massive church, you know, one of the biggest churches in Manchester. We used to outreach outside there. Church didn't support it. We got equipment from a different church on the day.
But the thing is, that's the problem though, bro, as well. Like, when can we do non-outreach events supported by a local community? Yeah. Because as much as I did, I didn't do outreaches. You know, I did shows. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? The problem I have is that you want me to bring over American acts, but yet you're sending children to go and watch Beyonce for 120 quid.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's twice.
And that was the battle that I had with the parents that were older than us. So they were bringing. So we're there doing these big shows and taking big expense, but yet you won't spend your money and invest into your children's spirituality and bring them to a quality gospel show that not only represents US gospel but also brings definitely did UK gospel. So for me now, going forward, I know there's a lot of initiatives that we're part of and it's part of us not shying things away. But the realness of it is that we were gaining ground and we've lost a bit of ground. You know what I'm saying?
We were really gaining momentum and it was big things.
Big things,
But then people start get watchy. So what's he doing over there? What's he doing over there? And then things happen and then, you know what I mean? And I don't understand how things are changing such like...
But the thing is, Mello, listen.
The last 15 years, last 15, 20 years, it's just compare shape.
No, 100%.
You know what I mean?
Because I always talk about the period of being the golden era. You know what I'm saying? You know, and from America, UK was inspired, was doing things in quality and whatever. And then when everybody treats this period as amazing, you don't realize how amazing we were doing things before. And it's not to belittle what you're doing now. What we're saying, there's the only way you can go forward, only way you can predict the future is to understand the past.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying? And this is the importance of this. I'm not a guy who wants to be talking about the past. Listen, guys, you know, it's important to understand the past to go forward. And that's how you succeed in life.
Look when Jesus fed the 5,000, At the end of the day, nobody was doing things like that. It was out of the ordinary what Jesus did there. And what it showed was that he's always doing a new thing, as the word talks about. Always doing a new thing. And the one thing that we didn't do the last 15, 20 years is recognize the church I'm talking about, recognize the new thing that God was doing and taking a step back and trying to understand what these young people were doing. You know what I mean? When you saw the gospel cypher, when you saw the gospel garage albums and stuff like that, when you saw those things coming in that were changing the narrative and that were seeping into the mainstream and taking the gospel literally to the street. If the church had seen those things and got behind those things, I keep repeating it, but like it would be in such a different place right now. And that would not be any detriment to the choirs and stuff like that because they would always be around.
They'll be around because the choirs actually stopped as well for me. You know saying that's what the choir is now, not what it was when you took them at late 90s. You know what I'm saying? And not to say they're not good now, but they weren't and then we never pushed on. And it showed you that we switched off. We did switch off as a community, as a musical community, whether it's arrogance, we just switched off because we got distracted. You know what I'm saying? Whatsoever, because we never built correctly. I don't know what it was. But now we're here. Mello, the charge is for us, bro, and the learning is for us as we're at the big man stage, And I was listening to a track by 808 Bees. I had a quick chat about this on one of my rants about Gatekeepers.
Yeah.
And we and gatekeepers messed things up,
Yeah.
whether the white or black, for us grow in gospel, because at the end of the day, the evidence is what we are now. Yeah, we're not further on.
I felt that from Manchester. I felt gatekeeper vibes. 100%.
But now it's becoming a stage where we are the gatekeepers, becoming the gatekeepers, and we need to even challenge our own hearts to make sure that. And people says, and I was saying, people moan about the gatekeeper when you're in the wrong side of the fence.
Right.
But the thing is, if there's only 5 apples on the other side and there's 20 people here, you as a gatekeeper have to decide that the right people get these apples.
Right.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. The problem is, the gatekeepers will just send his cousins through.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. You know what I mean.
And then want some little 5 apple gun.
But they won't look at Mello and Roger because they're too they're not from my family. You're not from my family. So not from my lineage, so we're not get through. But the thing is, people from inside, we want to burn that fence down. But the problem, if you burn down a fence, the 100 people can't share the 10. So there's a stampede, and it's chaos. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the gatekeeping is I still believe is essential, and by natural of who we are and where we're moving ourselves to as we get to our stages now, and even the way you play your music, you're looking for the Imrans, you're looking for this, you're hitting the airwaves, you know what I'm saying? You hear, you're not going, yo, Imran's like my cousin, so I'm not going to play him. You're not dealing with things like that. You're opening doors. So you said
we also need to create spaces. Then maybe the spaces that we didn't create for, or that the church that we saw didn't create for us.
Yeah.
Maybe we've got to try to create those spaces for the next lot coming through now. Yeah. And the way that they want to do it. But also this time, give them that discipline, give them that insight, give them that discipline, that foundation, that spiritual foundation. Because what had happened is, I think, in that grime era and stuff like that, it got to the point where they just wanted to be famous.
Yeah, man, it's skill.
They got too big. They wanted to be famous. They wanted to be on top of the pops. They wanted to make it on the scene, and they turned into superstars. Whereas they forgot what you were doing it for. You forgot that talent that you were being used for to share the gospel with was to bring and reconcile the lost to the kingdom.
Once a little money got involved, bro, then people's talents, they can say, I can start here. You had 2 pathways. You can go on the streets and do a couple of little bars, or you can do the church circuit, get good enough, and then by the time he evolved, then he can go on the street. So for me, there's a lot of things that we need to improve. We got to make sure that we create platforms. You know, God's willing, God bless us with spaces that we can set up properly, that when we dead and gone, it sounds kind of crazy, that they're still established. You know what I'm saying, and there's churches that are still here today after people have laid that seed. So we need to do that from a musical sense. Affinity Xtra, will it be alive when Roger not here? So these are the things where it can't be Roger Ministries. It's got to be more, and that's why I'm pushing everybody to step up the game. And I'm a sort of guy like this. I play football, and I say to the youngsters the other day, I say, listen guys, my biggest thing is this, if I lower my standards and I let you be better than me as an 18-year-old, I'm not preparing you for the real world. If you're going to knock me off, I'm going to prepare all summer to be playing back, and I want to be the first team centre back at the age of 50. Now, what are you going to do to beat me? Now, I will do you this service to relax and chill and let you just walk in. And then that means this world relaxes. Nobody relaxes. Nobody cares. You have to work hard to take over somebody else's way. You have to have that fight. And I felt like certain things were evolved in us, man. You know what I'm saying? So
that spiritual foundation to maintain and recognize the spiritual element to what they were actually doing. And the actual power behind what they were doing. Because they held a lot of weight. Those young people held a lot of weight. You know what I mean?
Man. And that was just after, like I said, when we were just starting to kick off our things. But it's like you just start a new world. Everybody just starts this new wave. There should not be new wave. There should be all community working together. And we just never got it together as it should be. People thought they got it together, but if we did, we wouldn't be here where we are now.
You know what would be the ideal? Churches got together. If there's an artist or is there a ministry that's growing and outgrowing their local church, it should be churches in that area getting together and saying, right, let's put this in and let's send them to London let them do a gospel week in London. We'll sort out your hotel. We'll send some elders with you to make sure they're praying with you and supporting you.
Yep.
We'll make sure you got all the equipment that you need. We'll make sure you've got all of those things in place. Make sure you're fed and watered. We'll make sure you're looked after in this ministry. That's the next step that we need to get to.
For real.
Yeah, man.
For real. Yo,
That's
people,
my heart. I do that on the day-to-day at work. You know what I mean? Empowering young people and I'm more about giving, empowering our young people to feel better about themselves and be confident in themselves. And,
yeah, man.
Because that impacts on every area of their lives. So.
Yeah, man. And like I said, guys, we youth workers here. We care about the next generation, and that enables us to kind of like play music, which is cool. That's why you gotta check us out, the Dream Team on a Wednesday.
That's right, man.
So
man.
You got from LeBron James over to some Luka Doncic decks. The one there still. You know what I mean? But now
I finished alley-oop 7 to 8.
You know what I'm saying?
Every
You know
Wednesday.
what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I did a reverse pass. And when it goes, yeah. It goes straight in there, man. But listen, guys, this is myself and Mello. We've been on the grind from the 2000s, man. And we're still here. You know what I'm saying? God's winning, God's sparing life. We got another decade or so out here.
Look out for some stories from the mission field as well, because I'm getting that back out on missions as well. Over the next year and stuff.
Okay,
so,
cool.
Look out for that. For real.
All right, man. Gonna be missionary strips. Okay, cool.
Yeah, man.
All right.
But I've still got life in the old bones,
Yeah, I'm saying, you know what I mean? So don't worry about that, man. Still, listen, guys, thanks for listening in. This is Roger the Ed Show. You had a taste of, the tough scene in Manchester, man. You know what I'm saying? Tough scene. You know what I'm saying? And Melo's still here, man, telling the story. So say, for God save him,
Listen, catch me 7 p.m, 7 sharp, Soul Drive show right here on Affinity Xtra, and also Sunday afternoons from 4 p.m. with the Soul Drive. Nice mellow vibes to take you through your Sunday, all right?
And the merch, guys, the merch. Yo, Soul Drive,
man.
That's man's coming out this.
Mad.
This is
absolutely mad. The Soul Drive merch, people. The Soul Drive merch. BXtraAX.com. Have I got that right? No.
BXtraCollection.com. Yeah, man. Yeah,
BXtraCollection.com. Go and check it out. Go and grab the merch. Come support the movement and get yourselves involved.
Blessings, man. Nothing but love, people. Here on the Edge.
Hey, this is your Bishop. This is your Bishop from Rock Solid. Thank you so much for watching us on YouTube. Thank you so much for clicking and subscribing and also sending these videos to other people as well. We are so hungry to get your support. So remember, check us out on our website, and also check us out on Insta and wherever you want to find us on Spotify. You can play us all day as well. And just make sure that you are supporting this channel, that we are developing our agenda towards music of black origin, and that is gospel music with a message. So please walk with us on this journey. Bye now.